Hidan is a character that when someone says Akatsuki, I immediately think about him. He's not the most powerful member of the group. In fact, you could argue he's probably the weakest member in terms of strength, with Zetsu withstanding. I just love the guy because he reminds me of Carnage from Marvel Comics. Both characters, they love to kill, they were known for blood, with Carnage writing his name in blood after he murders someone, and Hidan requiring blood to perform his ritual jutsu. Both characters appear to get off from taking the lives or whoever crosses their paths, and both were used to push a character morally. In Marvel Comics, Spider-Man was forced to question how far he would go in a fight to stop Carnage from continuing his serial killing spree, and he even teamed up with Venom to bring him down. With Hidan, he pushed Shikamaru into an emotional breakdown when he killed Asuma in front of him, forcing Shikamaru into a darkness that I would argue forever changed his character. Now that you guys know why I love Hidan so much, let's dive right into this latest edition of the True Power series, the Akatsuki edition, and look at just how strong Hidan was. So heat up those ramen bowls because today we're covering everyone's favorite psycho. So getting right into it, you guys are about to see why I would argue that Hidan is not only arguably the weakest member of the Akatsuki, but he's also the most useless one. Every Akatsuki member we've covered so far in this series has had at least one change in chakra nature. Most of them have multiple changes in chakra nature that they've mastered. Hidan, not so much. When it comes to chakra nature jutsu, he's basically Academy Naruto who couldn't make a proper clone jutsu. He has no talent at it at all. In Databook 3 and Databook 4, Kishimoto listed Hidan with no chakra nature mastery. However, Hidan wasn't a complete slouch when it came to battle. In one of the few instances on this channel, I'm actually gonna be referencing some anime filler, if only because there isn't a whole lot of feats when it comes to Hidan. In the filler that was added to the Itachi Midnight Novel adaptation, we see the formation of the Akatsuki and how Hidan was recruited into the group. After defecting from his village, Hidan began killing people in the name of jashin, which I've broken down extensively in another video called The Way of Jashin Explained. The Akatsuki were hired to assassinate Hidan. Nagato sent out a team of Itachi, Kakuzu, and Konan in order to take out Hidan. In the battle that ensued, Hidan actually managed to destroy one of Kakuzu's hearts, which you guys know is a feat in itself when you rewatch the Kakashi versus Hidan and Kakuzu fight. In the Akatsuki suppression arc, Hidan was implied to have played a pretty decent role in taking down the Two Tails Jinchuriki, obviously by using his Cursed Blood jutsu, but given the Jinchuriki went into her transformed state pretty quickly, Hidan would have needed to at least deal out some major damage to even use the Cursed Blood jutsu because she was transformed. In the very same arc, he did put up quite a fight against Asuma, who was one of the top Jonin in the Hidden Leaf Village and was supported by Shikamaru during that fight, displaying some insane reaction time that was good enough to avoid Shikamaru's Shadow Paralysis jutsu attacks while adjusting his own attacks to fight Asuma at the same time simultaneously. In the second fight with Shikamaru, he effortlessly adjusted to Shikamaru's attacks in mid-air. When in battle, Hidan usually fights with his triple-bladed scythe and his retractable spear, making him able to fight from long range as well as close range depending on the circumstance. While he only really uses the spear for his jashin rituals, if Hidan is in close proximity, one stab in the right place is enough to inflict major damage, which also sets up his Cursed Blood jutsu if he can get back into his pentagram that he draws using the blood. Using the metal cable, Hidan is able to wield the triple-bladed scythe with extreme skill, being skilled enough to deflect multiple shuriken that were thrown in his direction with utter ease. His aim and control over the scythe when he launched it using the cable made it extremely hard to dodge. Hidan's skill with the cable scythe was enough that Shikamaru made it a point to destroy the cable to take away Hidan's ability to use the cable to launch attacks with the scythe in battle. His reaction time and his agility was enough that for most of the fight with Asuma wasn't able to land a solid hit on him until Hidan's moves were restricted. His durability largely comes from his immortality jutsu, allowing him to survive having his head cut off and taking a point-blank fire style attack from Asuma. Even when he's hit with fatal attacks that would be fatal to other ninja, Hidan showed no signs of slowing down, likely due to the before mentioned immortality jutsu. His cursed blood jutsu is activated when he ingests a drop of blood from his enemy, meaning that even a single scratch can turn into a deadly encounter if Hidan has his way with you. The only way to counter the jutsu is to get Hidan outside of the pentagram that he draws, which will likely require some outside help since Hidan is able to inflict damage on himself, which is then felt by his enemy, meaning before someone can weave the hand signs or bum rush Hidan, Hidan could simply stab an artery and wait for his enemy to bleed out. Unfortunately, that's it for Hidan's ninjutsu, his hacks abilities, and even his weapons. Like you've probably gathered so far, Hidan's biggest strengths are his immortality, the durability that comes with it, his cursed blood jutsu, and Hidan's absolutely insane reaction and agility. But before we get out of here, as always guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share, and never forget that Senju DNA is love and Senju DNA is life.